Yesterday, I was adamant about posting my first YouTube video today, and honestly, I didn't know what the video was going to be about. I had a lot of ideas, but I was not sure what exactly I was going to post about. The next day evening, a friend asked me, what NBA teams should he support? He's a Warriors fan, obviously, a bandwagon fan. And he asked me what NBA team he could support now that the Warriors are bad. And I just decided, let me make a video about what teams to support. If you're a Nigerian, if you're a European, if you're African, and you're just getting into NBA basketball, and you want to know what team to support, I'm here to tell you about those teams and why you should support them. Sponsor, go and listen to my brother's music, Dirty the Date. You know, in the NBA, there's no relegation. Teams are not going down. So if you finish with a bad record, you have a chance of picking one of the best young players in the next drafts. Washington and Detroit, we are lumping them together. If you love CTE basketball, Washington Wizards are the team for you. Right now, those teams are losing and there is no silver lining for them. Well, for Detroit, they have Kate Cunningham, but injuries have been a problem for him so far into his NBA career. Shout out to a team everybody thinks are unserious. They have LaMelo Ball, but they've not made effort to build around LaMelo Ball. He's also not been on the court, so you can't really blame them for not building around him. Portland just traded their franchise player Dame Lillard after trying and failing to build around him for so long. They don't have anything to look forward to in that team except a few young players, but none of those young players look like franchise players. Toronto is also like Portland. They just blew up the carcass of their championship team, the Brooklyn Nets. They're a weird team because they seem to be rebuilding, but they are rebuilding around a high-level role player. Which I don't understand. Why are you rebuilding around Mikal Bridges? Okay, if you don't want to trade him, trade other people. Rebuild, tank. I love Mikal, but he's a high-level role player. He's not a star player. Atlanta have one of the best point guards in the game, Trae Young, but almost everybody in the NBA fan base wants him with Wemby or in another situation. They have players like Clint Capella that they should have traded a long time ago, but they keep holding on to these players, looking for windfalls that they are never going to get. Utah Jazz are also a rebuilding team, but during their rebuild, they locked out on players like Laurie that are good enough to be second or third options on contending teams. He was a forgotten player for Chicago, but in Utah, he has revived his career and he has become a so much better player. I don't think Houston Rockets should be classified as mid, but they are mid. They have a solid young core and they have vets like Jeff Green, Fred VanVleet, and the NBA's villain, Dillon Brooks. They have a bright future and they have a very good young coach in Ime Udoka. Probably the cream of the crop of rebuilding teams that you can select at the San Antonio Spurs. This team has a lot of history behind it. Even in the Kobe era and the LeBron era, they were able to win trophies from underneath the nose of those all-time greats. The Spurs have an exciting young talent. They have Victor Wembanyama. That's probably the most exciting young talent in the NBA right now. He's a boy that everybody believes is going to be the next guy that will get into the GOAT conversation.
As he goes into that shot. 28 for Victor Wembanyama. Holmgren trying to answer. He is stuffed and taken away.
Honestly, I'm prepared to support him for the next 10 years and then maybe at the end of his career start defending him against LeBron. They also have a Nigerian on the roster. Sorry, they have Charles Bassey, so that's something else to consider. There's a lot of Nigerians in the NBA, but most of them don't play for Nigeria for one reason or the other. That's another story for another day. But right now, there are a lot of Nigerians in the NBA. There are players like Ayo Dosunmu for the Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls are also another mid team that probably should have blown it up a long while ago. They are still sticking to the carcass of DeMar DeRozan. Caruso is a guy that can be useful for a contending team, but they've refused to blow it up. I do not know why. The Golden State Warriors, they're a team that they've had a lot of success in recent years. They prevented my king from winning so many trophies. I'll never forgive Steph and Kevin Durant for that. The Golden State Warriors are still a team that can contend because obviously if you have Steph Curry, if you have LeBron James, you are always going to contend. But they've had problems with injuries, they've had problems with their continuity. Players have not been playing up to their abilities. Players like Andrew Wiggins, players like Klay Thompson, but of late, they've been playing better and they've been on a winning run until they got dog walked by Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Let's not give Warriors fans flashbacks. The next thing we are talking about is the Lakers. What I wrote down is senior citizen and coach hot pockets. The only problem that the Lakers seem to have is a coaching problem. Obviously, the players are also disengaged at times. They have players like Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell. They are always so disengaged. When they are engaged, they look like the best team in the world. It's feast or famine for Lakers fans. They are good against good teams today. They are bad against small teams tomorrow. Indiana Pacers are a new revelation team in the NBA because obviously they have Tyrese, one of my favorite players in the NBA. He's a fun guy. He plays fun basketball. He shares the ball. He's not a ball hog that holds the ball and just chuck shots. He's always smiling. The Indiana Pacers are a very good team, but the only problem is there's no defense. They look to be contenders this season off the back of Tyrese Haliburton. The Dallas Mavericks are a good team for you to support also, but they've had a problem with injuries. Why you should support them is probably because of Luka. Luka is one of the best players in the league right now. He's in the running for MVP. I think he should be MVP this season, but Gilbert Arenas, Luka has shown that he can go against any team at any day, at any time. He's one of the best playoff performers. He's a playoff riser. If Luka averages 36 points in the regular season, surely he's going to average 40 points in the playoffs. A team that took everyone by surprise last season, and this season I don't know if I won't say they got found out per se, but they've not been as efficient as they were last season. They've been playing from mid to just above average this season. Zion is finally healthy. When he's healthy, he's box office, but the problem is he has not been healthy. I think this is the second highest number of games he's played in his career. He's played 50 games this season, and the highest number of games he has played in a season is 61. Miami are a team that these days they just coast in the regular season, and they have a monster that comes awake in the postseason. He acts like a werewolf that only comes out in the full moon. This is the time Jimmy is about to start eating up. NBA fans, we are all depending on Jimmy Butler to take care of the Boston Celtics for us because they've been beating everybody blue-black. Jimmy is the only one that is able to save us because he's been the one capable of beating them every year. If you are looking for a team that is going to outwork everybody, Miami is your team. Embiid was on track to be the MVP this season before he got injured, and since he's been injured, they've been up and down. The whole offense is Joel Embiid. It's been hard for them to create offense. Even their defense has suffered, so they've been losing games. But if they're able to keep their eye seed in and get into the playoffs, and Embiid is healthy by that time, they're also an exciting team to watch. Embiid is obviously African, he's Cameroonian. The only problem is that they've not made it to the Eastern Conference Finals since Embiid has been there. They've always lost in the semi-finals, and Embiid seems to be a playoff dropper. Honestly, I think the problem with Embiid is he's always injured during the playoffs, so he forces himself to play and he plays bad, and that narrative now comes up that he's a playoff dropper. If he's healthy this season, they should be able to go for it. They made a trade to get Rudy Gobert, and it seems like the worst idea ever. But right now, he's looking like he's looking like a master class. They have one of the best defenses in the league behind Katz and Rudy Gobert. Rudy is playing like a DPOY. I think he's going to get the DPOY this season. If they have that kind of defense with that kind of player on the offensive end, Anthony Edwards, the best shooting guard or second best shooting guard in the league right now, obviously they'll be a contender. If I was to compare this team to a European team, I'd probably compare them to Real Madrid in terms of their rebuild. They went from having world beaters like Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and they successfully transitioned that team into players like Shea, like J-Dub, like J-Will, like Lou Dort. They've done it seamlessly, and they still have a raft of picks. So if you are looking for a team that are going to be good now and are definitely going to be good in the future, you should probably go for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are the defending champions. They are the best player in the league. They seem like a matchup nightmare for everybody. What else can I say other than the defending champions? So if you want to bandwagon, it's alright. Giannis is one of the best players in the league. You should probably be getting more love in the MVP conversation right now. Everybody is used to Giannis doing insane stuff. It doesn't matter what he does. Even if he drops 60, he's still not going to rise in the MVP rankings. They won one already. They are looking like contenders again. They have Dame, they have Giannis. What more can I say? On points per game basis, this is the second best defensive team, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have Donovan Mitchell, they have Darius Garland, they have the Twin Towers, they have Jared Allen. Solid team that are flying under the radar because everybody is concerned with the more flashy names: Celtics, Denver, Lakers. Lakers are not in the they are not in the conversation right now because we are very bad, but nobody is focusing on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Clippers, when they first made the trade for the James Harden, it seemed like a bad idea because they went on a quick 0-5 run, but right now they're one of the best teams in the league. So they've turned the tide. They've been playing so much better basketball right now, and hopefully if they are able to get good matchups that fit their style of play, it's looking like they are on the last leg of their contending window. Their players are getting older, they're injury prone, but this year that they finally have Kawhi Leonard healthy and ready to go, it's time for them to go for the cheap. And last but not the least, they have the Boston Celtics. They have the best record in the league by far. They've won 80% of their games. They've gone to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 times in the last 8 years. So it's not like if they will win the trophy, eventually they win the trophy. It's a matter of when. But is that when this year? Is it next year? We don't know. So that's the thing with the Boston Celtics. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.